All right, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stretch Break. My name is Amber Linkford, and I'll be running you through your stretches today. For today's class, we are going to be using our chairs. We are going to begin standing. We're going to start with our standing exercises, and then we'll make our way to a seated position. For our chairs, I recommend using a stable or stationary chair, ideally without any wheels. If you do have wheels and you're able to lock them, I ask that you do so now. Otherwise, let's get started. We're going to begin focusing on our feet first. So what we're going to be doing is holding on to the back of our chair for balance. Legs are about hip width apart. From here, you're going to lift one heel up off the ground, bending that knee. We're going to roll our toes all the way over so the tops of our toes are pressing down into the ground. Ankle is pressing forward. You should feel a nice stretch in the front of your ankle, maybe even up into your shin. As we're standing here, we can also focus on that posture a little bit. Standing up nice and tall, shoulders are down away from our ears. We're going to hold this for 3 more deep breaths. For our breathing today, I want you to inhale through your nose and then exhale out through your mouth. On that last exhale, go ahead and lower that foot back down to the ground. Switching sides, lifting that heel up, curling those toes under, keeping that knee bent, pressing that ankle forward, feeling the tops of our toes pressing down into the ground. One more breath here. And exhale, lowering that foot back down to the ground. From here, we're going to take one leg. We're going to take a step back, going into a little bit of a lunge position. So we want that front knee to be bent, back leg is straight. I want you to actively press that back heel into the ground. We're getting a nice stretch through the back of our calf on that back leg. If you're not feeling much of a stretch, you can feel free to take a little bit of a larger step back and then press that heel into the ground. One more deep breath here. And then on that exhale, we're going to bend that back knee. The goal is to still keep our feet flat on the ground. So we're still actively pressing that back heel into the ground. We're just switching that focus. So we're stretching out our other calf muscle in this position. One last breath here. Exhale, bring both feet in, stepping back with that other leg, pressing that back heel into the ground, starting with that back leg nice and straight. Feeling a good stretch in our calf. One last breath. And then exhale, bending that back knee, keeping that heel on the ground, switching to that other calf muscle, our soleus. One more breath. Exhale, bring those feet in. We're going to stretch the back of our legs next. We're going to be doing a single leg hamstring stretch. I do have a double leg variation in case this is a little bit too much balance work for you. For this exercise, we're going to stand about an arm's length away from that chair, holding on to it for balance. We're going to go into a kickstand position. A kickstand position, we just take a step back with one leg, keeping that heel elevated. We're using that back toe to balance. With this stance leg, I want to keep just a soft knee bend so that knee is not completely locked out. We just have a soft bend here. From here, we're going to bend at the waist, leaning that chest forward until we feel a good stretch down the back of our leg. You can, depending on where you're at, rest your forearms on the back of your chair. You can also keep walking those hands down your chair, trying to get all the way down to the bottom of that chair. If this is a little bit too much balance, you can do the same thing with your feet side by side. Soft knee bend in both, bending at the waist, lowering that chest down and walking those hands down till you feel a good stretch down both of your legs. Trying to sink deeper into that stretch with each breath. We're going to hold for just 2 more deep breaths. On that last exhale, you can feel free to walk your hands back up. And we're going to switch sides. So now other leg is in front, other leg is back, just bracing on that toe. Or you can stay in that double stance, feet side by side. Walking those hands down, feeling that good stretch down the back of our thigh. One last breath. Walking those hands up, bringing those legs in, and we're going to transition to the side or the front of our chair. Really just depends on if you have an armrest or not. If you have an armrest, you can feel free to use the front of your chair. If you're like me and you don't have any armrests, you can use the side. We're just going to bend at the waist, placing our hands right on the seat of our chair, keeping a soft knee bend. Back is nice and flat. We're going to start by stretching our wrists. So we're going to take one hand. We're going to turn our hand so our fingers are facing our body. From here, we're going to slowly straighten that elbow, pressing that palm down into the seat of your chair. If you've gotten to the point where your elbow is all the way straight, but you feel like you could increase that intensity, go ahead and pull those shoulders back. You'll increase the angle of that wrist and feel more of a stretch in that arm here. One last breath. Exhale, placing that hand back in its neutral position. We're going to switch. Other hand, fingers face our body, slowly straightening that elbow out until that palm meets the seat of your chair. Leaning those shoulders back to increase that stretch if we need to. Let's hold for one more deep breath. Exhale, returning that hand back to its neutral position. We're going to do a few spine exercises next. So we're going to keep those shoulders stacked over our wrists. If you feel any wrist irritation, you can feel free to move your hands so you're now in a fist position. From here, we're going to tuck our chin to our chest, tucking our tailbone. We're going to do some cat-cows, getting as rounded as we can. And then we're going to drop that chest, lift our chin up, lift that tailbone up, extending through that spine, and repeat. Moving from our rounded cat into our extended cow. Let's do one more here. Flattening that back out once again. We're going to add some lateral movement. So we're going to take our head, looking over that shoulder. I'm looking over my left shoulder, looking for that left hip, making a C shape with our spine. Back to center, and then switching sides, looking over that other shoulder towards your hip, and back. Let's do one more to each side. Returning to center, we're going to slowly round that back, rolling on up into a nice standing position. Once you're fully in that standing position, you can go ahead and make your way to the front of your chair and have a seat in your chair. We're going to do a little bit of shoulder work here. So we're going to be sitting in our chair nice and tall. I want your feet flat on the ground. We're going to start by taking that right arm, lifting it up to shoulder height. We're going to cross it over, bending that elbow. We're reaching for that upper back, reaching for that shoulder blade. Left arm is going to grab our elbow, and we're going to pull our right arm in towards our chest as close as we can. You should feel a good stretch in your deltoids, maybe even into that tricep, as well as our shoulder blade. One more deep breath here. And exhale, release. Switching sides, the left arm reaches up, bending and reaching for that top of our shoulder. Right hand grabs our elbow, pulling that left arm in as close to our chest as we can. One last deep breath here. On that exhale, go ahead and release. We're going to end with a nice chest stretch. For our chest stretch, we're going to reach our hands behind our back. Fingers are laced. I want those palms facing up towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to slowly straighten out our elbows, pulling those shoulders down away from our ears. And then if we're able to, we're going to pull those hands out and away from our glute. You can even look up towards that ceiling, really feeling that chest open and expand. We're going to hold this for 3 more deep breaths. And then go ahead and release those hands. shaking those arms out, rolling those shoulders out. And that is all the stretching I have for you all today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your day and see you next time.